Thank you.
Maybe a little bit higher.
Yeah, just a little bit.
How's that?
Yep, that'll do.
All right?
Hello,
Oh,
can you hear me?
yeah.
Since I'm a very serious man, I want to make you all cry today. My brother messaged me and asked me to make you laugh at least 3 times.
That's twice.
So that's twice. Nice to be here. I like this venue. It reminds me of when I was growing up in the New Left generation. There were all these coffee houses spread throughout North America. It was kind of like this, and a lot of the beats. I mean, you know, maybe an unknown New York poet like Allen Ginsberg might be at the mic, and somebody might come up and do a tune like Robert Zimmerman. Well, Bob Dylan, if you don't know. And you know, it just has that kind of grungy atmosphere. Maybe that's where poetry belongs. I don't know. Poetry is kind of in hard times these days. Really, we're a resistance army in a sense, because we live in a very technical global culture, and maybe our job is to make people a little uneasy. I don't know. This is my latest book. I'll stop with that nonsense. Hush, Ecstasis or Ecstasis Press. I'm not sure what. Is it Ecstasis?
Editions.
Yeah,
Ecstasis
editions.
editions.
Yeah, from Victoria. And it's my second book with Ecstasis, and I mean, it does a nice job. The cover in particular is, this is actually a quilt by a friend of mine, and it's really fabric art. Moonrise, or Harvest Moon, it's called Harvest Moon. And it's beautiful. I'm glad. I was so thankful she allowed me to use it. Anyway, this book consists of 3 series of poems, poem series, plus a handful of single ones, standalones. I've been writing in poem series now for quite a few years. I don't really know how it began. It was an experiment. I started rewriting the Bible of all things, and I remember it was about halfway through, and I got an email from my sister seated over there, and she says, "You know, I really like your series in the Bible," and I emailed back, "I'd just given up on that as a failed project," and it really didn't work at all. You know, so I moved on to other things, and it just seems an easy way to do things for me. One poem leads to another, and it's an organic way of doing things. A lot of books, of course, are written in that way, and poems really fit together. The poems that you were reading there, they were really fit together organically as well. I love that sense of fantasy that you've got there. It's really quite beautiful, a sense of wonder. So I'm just going to maybe read one poem from there are 3 series, one poem from each series. And I'll start with a third, which is Talking Hollywood. And this one has kind of a strange history behind it, and I won't go there. But it started with a single poem. And I have loved movies all my life. Start there. From when I was a little boy growing up in the Mennonite village of Yarrow, where they were all Mennonite refugees from Russia. And it was a place of trauma and recovery and all those things. You see it every day now, very much like the Syrian influx. But Mennonites kind of hung together in villages. It was doable at that time. And so there were about 2,000, and movies and TV were not really accepted. By the time we came around, 3rd generation, well, then it was more or less okay. Our family purchased a TV when I was 15. And I'm glad it took that long, really. You know, to keep that thing out of our house until I was 15, I think was a great privilege, honestly, looking at what it's done to us. I'll stop preaching. Just to say that I really love movies, and when I finally went on to Simon Fraser, I stepped into a movie renaissance. It was the time of the New Left, and the movie industry, movie movement was exploding. Directors like Martin Scorsese and the Coen brothers, who are still around, making some of the best movies in the world. That's when they got their start. And then there were the Europeans like Fellini and Bergman and Truffaut and so on, and De Sica in Italy. It was just incredible, and we would go to theaters and watch Charlie Chaplin, and the place was packed. I mean, you can't imagine seeing that today. It only lasted for a few years, but it really caught me watching The Godfather and movies like that. So, that was a long-winded introduction to Casablanca. Is the first, the first poem I wrote in the series, and it wasn't intended to be part of the series. I just love the movie. I've seen it probably 6 or 8 times now. Have you all seen it? Is it going to make sense to you? Humphrey Bogart, Ingmar Bergman, a smoky bar in Casablanca. The Nazis have stepped in, and Rick is a cynic. Humphrey Bogart is a cynic. He doesn't care about a damn thing, but eventually his moral sense awakens. The movie, I saw it in the theater maybe half a year ago, and I swear it made me cry all over again. There's something about this thing. It was never intended as a work of art, and it turned out to be one, serendipitously. It's one of those astonishing developments. So I wrote this poem, not intending to do anything more with it. I used about 8 quotations from the movie, 8 exactly, and one kind of wove them into the poem, so you'll hear them and probably recognize them. And a few months later, I thought, you know, if I do this, maybe I can go on with a whole bunch of them. So I started back in the 20s and all the way up, to almost contemporary. And anyway, this is Casablanca, without going on any longer here. And the premise is somebody sitting in the bar, in Rick's bar in Casablanca, and watching what's going on. And everything, strangely, is in black and white. Beautiful black and white. Play it, Sam. Play those black and white 88s, because the Gestapo are here, Sam, and they mean to stop it. The music, the flash of your fingers, your mystery smile, and the secrets, curses flying free, conspiracies of cards and passports, and Boss Bogey in his rumpled back room, because talk in Casablanca is fast and hard as bullets, and the Nazi swagger, the dead drunk roulette, the pistols packed and polished, the resistor dumped at the door, so play it again, Sam. Hit the keys, those jazzy black and white arpeggios, because we're all actors in this spectrum of gray, in mythical Casablanca, helpless and innocent, while the world's at war, and you know it, Sam. The winning side would have paid you much better. I stick my neck out for nobody, he says, his cigarette smoke coiling into film infinity, his black and white eyes watery, sad, under hot camera lights. And he chose Casablanca, signed the starry studio contract. Bogey's seen it all. He's watched the orange cloud, the silver glitter of bombs over France. He smelled the crimson drip of daggered alleys, lost his deep blue love at the train station. Bogey chose Casablanca, decided the script was his, memorized a cynic's life, and now he runs Rick's bar, jammed with losers. So play it, Sam, for them, for his poker face. Here's looking at you, kid. Of all the gin joints in all the world, she walks into mine. Bergman's just arrived, straight into Bogey's pain, but she's always been here. Our film goddess, raven hair, alluring accent, lips that could burn celluloid, and a face men would volunteer for, die for. the slink of her gown, grace of her walk, curve of her neck, and her grief, her passion streaming, black and white. Bergman has never known color. She speaks the lines she was born to in this high Hollywood set, this holy melodrama, because the plane's booked and she's leaving forever, loving forever. So play it, Sam, because we'll always have Paris. It doesn't take much to see that the problems of three little people. Yeah, I've been waiting here, Sam, overhearing since the opening credits, sipping my black and white gin, waiting for you, Sam, because the goose-steppers are here. Bullying, it's in the script, and the script is unalterable, and the screenwriter's stuck on a sad ending. But we're in Casablanca, Sam, where it doesn't matter. The problems of three little people don't amount to a hill of beans in this crazy world. And the black and white deepens, and the joy is unbearable. And you play it as time goes by, because you live here, Sam. And this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.